live, so I request all of you to keep your mobiles in silent mode, and thousands of people would be watching us online. On behalf of Symbiosis Skills in Professional University, I welcome the chief guest, Sri Rajesh Patilji, Commissioner, Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, our Pro-Chancellor Madam, Dr. Swati Majumdar, distinguished invitees from the corporate, Sri Shirish Kulkarni, Director, KSB Pumps, Mr. Rahul Baghi, Group Head, HR Head, Force Motors, Joyce Samuel, Director, HR Grupo Antolino, George Cardoz, Head HR Forbes Marshall, Mr. Anand Kannan, IFIA, and Ms. Arundhati Kadre, Representative National HRDN, and all the heads of schools of Symbiosis Skills and Professional University. The industry are rapidly transiting to Industry 4.0. Different sets of skills and competencies are required to perform effectively at workplace. There is a need to reskill employees in order to help them perform effectively in the new job roles. SymbiTalks has been curated in association with the National HRD Network and PCMC Smart Sarthi. PCMC Smart Sarthi has been actively promoting and engaging in various skill development activities for development of the youth of the nation. We are indeed very fortunate to have Sri Rajesh Patil, Sir, PCMC Commissioner, for this function. As a token of gratitude, may I now request Dr. Swati Majumdar, Madam, to felicitate the Chief Guest, Honorable Sri Rajesh Patilji. Thank you, ma'am, for doing the honor. The first episode of SymbiTalks is on future of manufacturing sector, new emerging trends and job. May I request Sri Rajesh Patilji to felicitate the panelists for today, Mr. Shirish Kulkarni. Mr. Kulkarni is the Director of HRD at KSB Pumps. Over 30 years of rich experience in HRD functions in leadership positions in multinational organizations in India and Asia Pacific. Prior to this, he has been Hindustan Aeronautics, Bosch, Sandvik, Philips, to name a few. The second panelist for today is Mr. Rahul Baghi. Mr. Baghi is currently working as a group head at Force Motors. His 24 years of stint with diverse industry experience comprises of food and beverage, consumer electronics, FMCG, automotive industry. He significantly contributed in setting 7 greenfield projects and change management initiative and signed multiple productive long-term wage settlements. The third panelist for today is Mr. Joyce Samuel, Director, HR Grupo Antolino. Experienced HR Director with demonstrated history in automotive industry, skilled in management, recruiting, training, human resource, and performance management. Thank you for doing the honor, sir. May I now request Swati Majumdar, Madam, to please felicitate Mr. George Cardoz, HR Forbes Marshall, a passionate human resource professional with around 25 years of rich experience in reputed large engineering and IT organizations. We also have Mr. Anand Kannan, Country Heads, International Federation of Investors Association, headquartered in Switzerland, with us today for the function. We have Ms. Arundhati Kadre, representative of NHRD. Inauguration. Thank you, ma'am, for doing the honor. Dr. Swati Muzumdar is a global thought leader and a visionary in the field of skill development. She is a driving force behind the establishment of India's first skill development university. Her brainchild, Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, Pune, and Symbiosis University of Applied Sciences, Indore. Now, may I invite Dr. Swati Muzumdar, madam, for her welcome address.
So, Honorable Commissioner of PCMC and a big supporter of skill development, upskilling, Shri Rajesh Patil sir, all the HR who's who, experts, champions who have come here from the industry, the representatives of the National Network of HRD, all the panelists and staff of this university. Very warm welcome. It's a sunny day today, so I think we can look forward to dry days for the next couple of days. The weather is on our side. Warm welcome from this university. It gives me immense pleasure to be here. HR is a backbone of every organization, and I truly believe in that. So it's extremely a proud privilege for all of us that so many HR champions will be sharing their thoughts. This is a unique university. I'm sure you are aware of Symbiosis. I need not talk much about our legacy. We've just completed 50 years of excellence in education and celebrated our golden jubilee last year. This particular university, at a Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, was conceived somewhere around 2010-11, and the enactment actually happened under Maharashtra government in 2017. This campus was constructed in 2017. This is a self-financed state-private university, and I'm happy to share with you that this is our state's first skill development university, and in fact, India's first residential skill university as well. I hope you have taken a tour, a $1 tour of our campus, as I always say. To see is to believe. So I hope you've been able to see the wonderful work that is going on here. We are immensely privileged that Rajesh Patil sir is spearheading the Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, and his thrust on skill development and his understanding of the importance of skills is extremely beneficial to this entire region. And I'm happy to share with you that it is only and only because of his leadership that we have engaged in big projects with a very high social impact under the PCMC banner for COVID widows, and in fact now for other women of the region, as also underprivileged students who are undergoing various skill-based courses, not only in Symbiosis, but I'm told in other skill universities and skill training providers as well. More than a couple of thousand students have been recently trained under his leadership. And my congratulations to sir for conceptualizing something like this. Very rarely you find a bureaucrat who walks the talk. So sir, I'm really privileged that you are such an example to the public and to other bureaucrats as well. Having been in education for the last 20-25 years, it is really commendable that at his level, when there are so many other important activities going on, he does, his thoughts do go out to those who require this kind of skill-based education the most. Today's SymbiTalks is an excellent initiative which has been conceptualized by our university and the Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning. So I take it as my duty to introduce Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning to you as well. This institute was conceived by Dr. Muzumdar in 1995. And those of you who have been staying in Pune will remember that in 1995, there were hardly any distance education providers in not only in Pune, but in the country. Other than the Indira Gandhi National Open University, there were hardly any distance and online education providers. From 2001, this institute has been providing education opportunities to those who are not as fortunate to come on a campus and study in an on-campus program. People like us who are busy with our work life, who aspire to educate themselves further, who aspire to gain new skills. The Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning has been providing such opportunities to lakhs of working professionals primarily, and also people from the defense personnel who have been taking various educational opportunities from this institute. Today, this institute has more than 45 programs in various disciplines like management, IT, law, education, humanities, social sciences, even cutting edge areas like blockchain, data science, etc. And I'm so happy to inform you that today this institution has lakhs of students, not only from India, literally from all corners, from Andaman and Nicobar to Kargil, but also from 40 other countries. That just shows that our education is so popular, not only in India, but even abroad. One of the recent movies that you may have all seen, Major. So Sandeep Unnikrishnan was one of our students, and we are so proud that this war hero, we were part of his academic journey. There are literally who's who enrolled in various programs at SCDL. The campus is in Model Colony. It's the only distance learning institute having its own separate campus, a separate faculty, online lectures, and even live lectures are delivered from the campus every day of the week. And we are ISO recognized, and our programs are appreciated and recognized by everyone in the industry. Both these initiatives, that is the distance learning, which is now more than 20 years old, as well as this university, which is now more than 6 years old, have been contributing to nation building through various pioneering programs. Of course, not only through distance mode, but on this campus, they are all in face-to-face model. I don't know how many of you are aware, but in this university, we offer engineering programs, 4-year degree programs, Bachelor of Technology in CSIT with a specialization in cybersecurity. We also have BTech programs in various other areas like mechatronics, automobile, construction and infrastructure, which is such a greenfield area. We also have a BSc, 3-year BSc and MSc program in data science and artificial intelligence. Under the management stream, we have undergraduate BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration programs in retail and e-commerce management. Then we have in digital media and marketing. We have ports and terminals and also logistics and supply chain. And I would like to share that you will not find these courses anywhere in India. There is no course in India to build manpower for ports and terminals, for logistics and supply chain, dedicated programs. We also have another unique program, which is a BSc in Beauty Wellness and BSc in Nutrition and Dietetics. Again, if you search the net, you will not find such a 3-year degree program anywhere in India. We also have so many other programs, architecture program, BArch, Bachelor of Architecture, which is a 5 years again degree program in not only architecture, but urban planning as well. This university has had a philosophy of not implementing conventional programs like BA, BCom, etc. And those, there are hundreds and thousands of colleges in India which do that. As a skill university, we have always been going to industry and to champions such as all of you present here in this room to understand what are the different job roles and the requirements in the market. And after understanding from experts like you, what are the job opportunities for young students, we then reverse engineer and work backwards on the curriculum so that we can offer programs which will produce students who are industry ready from day one. So the objective of the university is very clear, to prepare industry ready students. And that is why we never start with educational programs on our own. We always go to the industry and find out what is their requirement, what are their challenges, and what kind of human resource requirements they have. And after understanding these requirements, we prepare the curriculum and syllabus. I'm also happy to share that not only do we have degree programs, but we have many short-term courses as well. Because many industry champions come to us and say, we just want a 3 months or a 6 months course. We don't want a long-term program, and we appreciate that. In today's area, as somebody mentioned earlier, there is a need for upskilling also. The way business is being done today is quite different, especially after the pandemic. So it is very important that we also prepare courses which are short-term, which can quickly prepare working professionals and students for newer areas of operation. So this university is a wonderful blend of both. And I'm so happy that through this SymbiTalks, we can all deliberate on what are these areas where we need to participate in nation building. It's not just a word. It means a lot to us, especially in the skill-based education. And I'm sure the Honorable PCMC Commissioner will agree that as a society, we have to all work together. We cannot work in isolation, be it the industry, be it government agencies, bureaucrats, municipal corporations, and even skill-based universities. We all have to work together because our objective is same or similar. And I think already we are doing a lot with PCMC in this area. And I hope that SymbiTalks gives a momentum for all of us stakeholders to come together on a common platform, not just with today's SymbiTalks, but many more such interactions that we look forward to having with you on such platforms. With these words, I once again thank the Honorable Commissioner as well as all other industry champions, the backbones of our industry who are here today and have taken out their time, which shows your commitment to nation building. So I congratulate all of you for coming here today, and I look forward to the deliberations during the next time period. Thank you again.
Live to various social handles of SymbiTalks, PCMC Smart Society, and Integrator. The audience will include thousands of students from SymbiTalks, our alumni, the working professionals, members of MHRDN, and the youth society. All these are working as digitally inaugurate the initiative to be. Multiple initiatives with the government of Odisha, he is director of Northern Odisha. Under his able guidance, Dr. Narayan, Dr. Until first From among 47 districts in the country for outstanding work in rehabilitation of persons. Guarantee Act, implementation in Mayurganj district with 530 districts completing in the country in 2014.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Swati Mujumdar, Pro Chancellor, Symbiosis Skills and Professional University. All the guests from the industry and the partners, NHRD and IFIA, the senior officers of both the organizations, and the staff of the university. I welcome you all. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of this journey which is starting today, along with Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning and National HRD Network, Pune chapter. It is indeed such an occasion when we as a country are at the crossroad. Today we are talking about Industry 4.0 and the transformation which is happening and supposed to happen in coming years. And on this backdrop, we are sitting in a university which is trying to connect the experiential learning with the youth of this area and the country. I am indeed feel privileged that this university is in my jurisdiction. It is, I would say, since I work in the skill domain, it is one of the best places in India at this moment to impart skill education to the students. Having said that, I think the need of the hour is to kind of see that how we train our youth for future. At this juncture, if we look around, the way technology is changing, the jobs which were in demand a year before or so, they are not in demand today. So the kids who are in education stream, they don't know, what kind of relevance they have and this study which they are doing today for the future. So this is the age of lifelong learning and skilling and reskilling. So it is very essential that what is that industry needs, what is that industry is looking at, and unless we integrate that with our curriculum and courses, I think it would be very difficult for the industries also to grow and prosper. An example of South Korea comes to my mind when I talk about skill force and its impact on the growth of the industry. South Korea, we know, as a very small country, maybe less than half the size of Maharashtra, but it has giants like Kia Motor, Samsung, and so many LG, and so many big multinational whose products are available in every house throughout the world. So I think this was possible because of the availability of skilled manpower and the appropriate skills which were required for these industries. They were made available locally within the country. So when we are talking about the transformations through this revolution in Industry 4.0, we should focus and we should try and listen as to what industry has to say, what is their growth path, what are the skills they are looking at, and what is the trajectory they want to achieve. This not only gives us, the idea as to what should be our focus in the education and in the technical domain. It also helps us to address the huge problem of unemployment and aspiration among the youth. I think I'm very happy that Symbiosis is in its own way trying to understand this issue and trying to do something. And I think we will need hundreds of institutions like this in future. So our education system, no doubt gives us, certificates and degrees. But if we talk about skills, then and that also the employable skills, then there is a lot to be needed. And I think the earlier we understand, the better it is. We as a country, we are trying to find out solution for this. Skill mission was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister. But at this point of time, we have long way to go, and we need to understand the complexities of the skilling and the aspiration of youth in a big way. So I would, say that this is a very nice beginning. And once we start listening from the people who are actually into the job of creating new things, and who are looking for youth with appropriate skills, and who also will apprise us, and who also will give us ideas as to how our education stream should shape in future. This would certainly give us a lot of input, and I'm very happy that we have started this kind of initiative, and I'm looking forward for many more such talks, which will not only enrich the audience and the institution like us, but it will also set a trend in the direction to involve industries and make them part of the deliberations and public discourse, whereby where we talk about the education and skill education. Thank you so much. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Swati Mujumdar, who is so positive in taking up any new idea, and our association in PCMC is really working wonderful, and we are looking at many more such initiatives which will not only give employment, but which will be transformative and demonstrative for others to follow. Thank you so much.
For your address, we would take a short tea break now, post which we'll resume for the panel discussion for today on the topic Future of Manufacturing Sector, New Emerging Trends and Jobs.
Before we break for tea, I just wanted to share with you that there's always been talks about academia and industry coming together. And since I've been part of the Symbiosis family for the last 50 years of its journey, and so many of the Symbiosis alumnus are part of the corporate industry leadership. Many times industry goes to universities just to take a guest lecture here and there. But today on this platform, I really want to request the industry that you need to involve yourself much more than just coming and taking a lecture. Of course, that is also a value addition, but a more closer interaction, not only in the aspect of training the students, but especially in identifying gaps. And sir mentioned Korea so rightly with his experience. When we visited Korea through a FICCI delegation, I was talking to their labor ministry, or the Minister for Labor and Employment. And I asked him that how is it that your skill universities are so successful and what is it that you're doing differently? So he said that it is not just enough to have some university, be it a skill university or a research university, but he said it is very important to have the industry closely engaged with such a skill university. So I said, what exactly do you do when you say closely engaged? In India also we have industries coming. So he said, no, that is not enough. Whenever a new campus of a industry is being set up, whenever a new factory is being set up, whenever a new premise of somebody is coming to that region, the local administration, like say municipal corporation or whatever they may call that in Korea, they actually arrange a meeting with the local university and that industry and say that how long are you going to take to bring out your factory? So maybe say 1 year, 1.5 years. And what are the kind of people you require at the end of 1.5 years? So they start their work right there, sir. And they identify who are these people, what are the skills they require, and they immediately mobilize the local people. Again, very important, they mobilize the local people to then go to that university. The company also sends some of their trainers. The university may be obviously having their own teachers. And together, within that 1.5 period, they get the people trained to take up those jobs in that region. Sir, recently Foxconn has decided to come to Talegaon, and MIDC CEO got Foxconn to meet me here. And I don't know how many of you are aware, I was also myself surprised that Foxconn have a university on their campus in Shenzhen. So see their commitment. And they were so excited to see the campus, and Chinese, they're so technical. So they could immediately correlate. I didn't have to tell them about skilling. It was like in their DNA. And this is exactly what they said, that, if we are going to set up Foxconn in 1 year, 1.5 years, let us develop that human resource together. And the advantages are multifold. Number one, when you take local people, the attrition obviously can be eliminated. Number two, the local people know the local language, their food habits. They don't have to adjust and adapt to that region rather than getting somebody from a distance. This is the second advantage. The third advantage is the economic development of the region. And last but not the least, migration. Migration doesn't happen for jobs. If you develop local people for local jobs, as Modi ji says, that you should do Make in India with local material, local people, local experts. So my request to all of the industry on this platform is that do engage with academia, be it Symbiosis or any other. And as a skill university, definitely we feel this is the way ahead. If we want to develop, we need to step out of our comfort zone, come and talk to people like you, experts. And if along with Honorable Municipal Commissioner's Office, if we can create an ecosystem for all of us to work together, I think it will be a win-win for everybody. Ultimate beneficiary will be our citizens, but it will be a win-win situation for every one of us. So I hope that this relationship can develop in this manner, and together we can work in a way that, our economic conditions of the region develop. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll break for tea.
के द्वारा विश्व का हृदय जीत सके ऐसे नौजवानों का सामर्थ्य हम तैयार करना चाहते हैं.
If you want to take advantage of demographic dividend, it is necessary that we must give jobs to our young men and women. And how can you give them jobs? We give jobs by imparting education. And in order to satisfy this need, I am glad that Symbiosis have established a very unique university of its kind in our state, and that university is Symbiosis Skills and Open University.
Welcome to SSOU, Symbiosis Skills and Open University. To skill India, to build India. SSOU is India's first residential skills and open university.
Students were not looking at entering the field of skill-based education because of two important reasons. The first reason was that there was a complete lack of vertical mobility. That is, from certificate courses all the way up to degree courses in skill-based education are not available today. The second important reason is that there is no social acceptability of people who have skills, who work with their hands.
Equipped with specialized skill training machinery and equipment as per industry specifications. SSOU ensures a minimum 70% of teaching is imparted through hands-on training and practicals at centers of excellence, learning factories, and industry engagements. Our teaching pedagogy inculcates not only our value-based Indian ethos, but also the use of cutting-edge technologies like simulations and augmented reality. The Department of Interdisciplinary Sciences provides programs in soft skills, life coping skills, leadership, entrepreneurship skills, and foreign languages. Symbiosis Skills and Open University, on a mission to build and nurture skills as one of the greatest acts of nation building. About a revolution in higher education.
Welcome once again. The topic for today's discussion is Future of Manufacturing Sector, New Emerging Trends and Jobs. The esteemed panelist for today is Mr. Shirish Kulkarni, Director HRD KSB Pumps, Mr. Rahul Baghi, Group HR Head Force Motors, Mr. Joyce Samuel, Director HR Grupo Antolin, and Mr. George Cardos, Head HR Forbes Marshall. The moderator for the panel is Major Sonali Kadam. Major Kadam has been working as a director of Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning, Pune. She has played various roles in strategic management, general administration, operations, people management, training, threat perception, and security. She's been associated with the Symbiosis family for more than 10 years. Over to you, Major Sonali Kadam.
Thank you so much. So let me first officially welcome all the panelists for our discussion today. And all the audiences who have joined us online, thank you for your patience. We know that you have been eagerly waiting for the first episode of SymbiTalks. So I welcome all the audiences who have joined us online, whether it is on Facebook or Insta or YouTube channels. I also welcome all the students of Symbiosis who have joined us for this session. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have literally the who's who from the manufacturing sector with us today. And we will take this opportunity to not only understand the issues and challenges that the sector is facing, but we are also going to talk about the opportunities that it is representing for us. To start the discussion, the first question is for all of you. You all are heading the HR for leading manufacturing automotive industries. What are the current challenges that you're facing, whether it is in hiring or in retaining employees in this sector? I think we can start with Rahul.
Thanks. I think I can vouch on three challenges and one opinion on this particular point. First is that hiring and attracting people basically is one of the challenges because of the pandemic. I think many of the companies are losing their key people, and that's the biggest worry the manufacturing companies are having. Now, having said this, there is also try for retention of critical resources or key people who are basically niche in their role and who are contributing to the company. So companies are adopting different ways and means by attracting some kind of lump sum bonus, some kind of like package tour, or some kind of like, global assignment also to engage them. So this is one or two different ways to engage them. We also did some kind of like different kind of increasing the competency of the people, where if the person is only masters in production, why don't we nurture him for the quality and some kind of like supply chain, so that we can have some kind of versatility and in eventuality of losing talent, we can have our own people. So I think this is second thing. What is important for us is basically stability of the people. I think is one of the big concern. Even though people are joining nowadays, the turnaround or the average tenure is reducing from 3 years to, let's say, 2 years and all. So I think these are the challenges according to me.
One pertinent point that you have brought out is that there is cross-skilling which is required to be done. So you may have been in a certain vertical, but you can upskill for another vertical. So lateral mobility, I think, is another key area which we can look at. And it would really help people to also not stagnate in a particular job role. So I think that's a very pertinent this. George, over to you.
Basically for us, I think it's not something new. the demand and supply. Demand and supply basically for talented people or skilled people. And what I get to hear since since morning is that Symbiosis is definitely in a big way trying to bridge the gap. And definitely I heard about it, but now I'll be able to say that we'll be able to really bridge the gap between what the industry has been looking for. But for us, a little different demand and supply. And just like we have moved from Test cricket to one day, and from one day to 2020, where you want everybody to come and start hitting sixes and fours. We also need manpower to start like plug and play. You don't have so much of patience and time to train them, equip them to meet the requirements and deliver accordingly. But I think what Symbiosis is doing is definitely going to help not only us, but the entire industry and everybody else as such, I would say.
Nexus between India and between the academia and industry is very, very pertinent. And as you rightly said, the shorter we make this skill gap, the faster will be the plug and play. I think we can all come together and do that. And I'm sure the audiences who have joined us will also have multiple questions around how do we shorten the skill gap. So we'll come to that shortly. Joyce, over to you.
Thank you, Sonali, for first of all inviting us. We were quite excited to see your campus. I was quite excited, and I think you are a very nice campus, and all of you are doing good job. All the people who are here and those who are hearing live to us. The question asked is, what are the challenges we face in hiring people and also retaining? So these are two questions which is asked. So if you see the manufacturing companies, I don't know whether my fellow panelists will agree or not, but I think manufacturing industry are looked as less glamorous. People don't look at manufacturing companies, factories. Typically, they see sometimes in movies or sometimes their experience what the shabby place. So it's little less glamorous. And if you ask the younger generation, this is a global phenomena. Typically, younger employees view manufacturing as a boring place. Actually, it's a boring, outdated, and okay, there's no creativity here. That's what is their perception, which is there in the current generation. So we find this as a big issue in terms of hiring the people. We were talking about the women employees or the women to be hired. Now factories are typically out of the city, right? These are not available inside the city. Of course, we have a couple of them, but most of them, they are outside the city. This becomes a challenge for the distance because of the commute, what they have to spend too much of time. So again, it becomes unattractive. Okay, if I get a job in the city, why should I travel? So I have a plant in Ranjangaon, and you can imagine how much time it takes every day. I think you are also working with Fiat. 2 hours it takes one side. Okay, 4 hours for working for 8 hours you have to spend. It's like people, and we are facing real problem. In our company, we have women employees in all the 3 shifts. This is the initiative we took. We have women on shop floors, all the 3 shifts. We are taking care of them very well. We have security deployed in the night shifts and we are dropping them home. Manufacturing companies typically don't do it, but we have taken this bold step of bringing the, so we are facing these challenges of, one is hiring, and then people who join us, they find it very easy to go to other companies because it becomes a little more glamorous. And you see the offices, if you go to city offices, okay, I sit in a corporate office. If you come to our office, you will like to work there, right? You will like to shift yourself from. So these are some of the challenges which we face. And the last thing which I want to also tell is that in manufacturing, we are unable to offer a work from home. Okay, this has become a challenge actually, yeah? Work from home. People negotiate with us not about salary today. They are negotiating with us work from home. How many days you will give work from home? Can I work only 1 day in office? They are not talking of 4 days in office and 1 day home. They're talking, can I work 1 day in office? So these are some of the challenges we are facing. Now, manufacturing companies, this is slightly difficult because you have operators, you have everybody. So we want a physical presence. So I felt that this is the challenges and we are facing in the, yeah. Thank you.
I think that's an interesting perspective. And maybe we should talk a little about how do we make manufacturing glamorous? Because gone are those days where you would get your hands dirty. Today, manufacturing are more cleaner than even an IT firm today. So I think that's something that, our audiences also need to go, and maybe they need to come on the shop floors and see the assembly lines to know the kind of technology that is being employed today. Over to you, Shirish.
Thanks, Sonali. I think it's a very important point. I think it's a very important point as to how do we make the manufacturing more attractive. And when I think about the challenges in hiring and retaining people, I mean, there are certain reasons we need to understand. I think the first and the foremost is like the technology is changing very fast. And as Rahul said, okay, we would like to have the people who can adopt very quickly and start delivering. Okay. So the basic thing, like what we expect from the candidates is that they should have a very strong technical knowledge in whatever domain they have. So today, like when we go for hiring the GTs, I mean, we find hundreds and hundreds of engineers available. Let's say I'm talking about engineers now. However, I mean, we struggle to get the people who have the right kind of skills and right kind of attitude to work in manufacturing. Okay, so that is number one. Secondly, as my friend said that, okay, the manufacturing is moving to the locations away from the city. And there is a reason for that, because manufacturing industry has always been finding this, always been trying to find this solution, to optimize the cost, to be more cost competitive. And there are a number of things which are done to ensure that, to achieve that objective. And one thing is like, okay, they are always in they are in the constant search of, let's say, the low cost manufacturing locations. And therefore, like he talked about Ranjadgaon, we have a factory at Shirwar, okay, which is about 70 kilometers. The same problem. Okay, the people, and typically like, okay, we were falling short of the space in our factory in Chinswad, and therefore we decided to shift to Shirwar. Now, when we decided to shift, so the people were ready, okay, they said they were excited, new factory and all that. But once they started traveling, they said that, okay, I mean, this is not, okay. Now this is for the staff. As far as the blue collar workmen are concerned, okay, we have been hiring the people from the places like Satara, Kolhapur, Karad, and all that. Even the staff also we try to hire from these places. But now the problem is once we sort out the issues of transport, for example, like we have the air conditioned buses to commute. Okay, we have this state of art factory. As you said, you will not say that it's a factory. So advanced actually. It's a kind of air cooled factory. I won't say air conditioned, but the air cooled factory. So you don't miss anything, like what you see in the corporate office as such. The state of art canteen, the air conditioned buses, the nice working environment, everything we are providing. Now even the associates, like the workers we call associates, now they have started demanding that, okay, we would like to stay in the city. And so therefore you start providing the bus facility to Pune. So the reason is like, fine. I mean, they don't have the good infrastructure in terms of education, in terms of, like what you have in city, like malls and multiplexes and all that. So everyone is looking forward to this. So getting people at remote locations is another problem. The third thing is that we have a big competition with the IT and service sector. So when we go for campuses, like the leading engineering colleges in Pune, let's say, or even for that matter in Sangli, okay, or even for that matter in like Nasik, we have a factory at Nasik also. So the top engineering talent is taken away by the IT and service sector. Okay. And they offer almost double than what we offer to these students. So there's a big issue. So on one side, you find it difficult to get good talent from the top engineering colleges, like who would be better in terms of content and all that. On the other side, you have large number of engineering colleges or large number of polytechnics where the candidates are not industry ready. So this is another problem, I would say. As far as the retention is concerned, okay, one more thing, like we've been talking about the employment of women.
increasing the diversity ratio. So we have been focusing quite a lot on the increasing the diversity in the company. Now, for example, last year we had the objective that okay, every year we hire something like 40 graduate engineers from the campuses. So last year we said that we will hire only women. Okay, and but then we found it so difficult to get the required number with the required competence. But still, we made the target. We said, okay, we will skill them up. And then as far as the retention is concerned, there are a number of things which are happening. The manufacturing has to keep pace with the IT and service sector. Well, the work from home option, we have offered in some cases, but not in all the cases, right? The state-of-art offices, good canteen facilities, good transport facilities, good reward and recognition programs, good outbound programs. Now we have the happiness manager in our company, okay, who takes care of the engagement level of the employees. So there are lots and lots of things which are done, to retain people. But again, the expectations from the employees have gone up like anything in the recent past. They expect quite a lot today, and it becomes very difficult to meet the expectations of the employees. Our experience is that okay, I mean, once we get to retain the people for the first 3 years, then generally he stays with us for for a much longer period as such. But retaining the people for the first 3 years, engaging them is that is what we are focusing on. On retention, one more thing I would like to say, you mentioned about, providing them the growth opportunities. Now we have the policy in our company wherein what we call as the internal job postings. So what we do is like each and every position which is vacant in the organization, right up to the level of general manager, we advertise internally. And only when we do not get the required competence from within, we do go out. Okay. And therefore, the only condition is that the person should, or the employee should have worked in the present job for a minimum period of 2 years. That's the only condition. In fact, we do encourage people. We tell them that, okay, you make yourself redundant in first 2-3 years, and then, you will have opportunity to grow. And we are growing as a company at the rate of almost 15% year-over-year. And there are lots and lots of opportunities which are available. And therefore, like our approach has been like hire the fresh talent, train them, and give them the growth opportunities so that they can grow with the company.
So I think expectation setting of the youth when they are entering into a college, when they are looking at this manufacturing as a sector is also something that we need to focus upon, because as you rightly said, that there are a competition coming from the ITES sector. But there are a lot of passionate students who love working with their hands, who want to make their careers in manufacturing, but they do not have the right opportunity being given to them. So I think that's one other area where all of us can work together and see how do we create that this. Taking from what we were talking about, manufacturing is one sector which has got completely disrupted with technology. And as we were talking that gone are those days when you used to have these shabby assembly lines. It's all about automation, Industry 4.0, IoT. So things are really changing and looking up for the manufacturing sector. And obviously with that, there are a lot of job roles which are going to become obsolete. And there are a lot of job roles which are going to now come in. So how do you feel are those job roles which are changing? And what are the nature of these jobs, which we will see in maybe years to come? And also a little about what are the job roles which are going to get obsolete? So I think I'll start with Rahul on this, if you could.
Very interesting question. And I would like to give some kind of idea about the revolution which is happening in the industry. If you talk about Industry 1.0, 1786, that was when the machines were powered by steam and water. And then it is impacted very hugely on European countries. Followed by after, let's say, 84 years, second revolution happened with electricity, manufacturing of aircraft, large number of automotive and all, so which is also impacted. It is in the same phase. Third, we have after, like, say, 100 years after that in 1969, where there is a third industrial revolution of computers. And now we are into fourth, which is basically CPS. It's basically cyber to physical system, which is the industry 4.0, we will call this as. Now, how this is impacting is very, very important. If you see across the globe, what is going on is basically rising the global temperature and all. And the focus across India and globe is to reduce the temperature. And that is also COP26 kind of commitment or Paris kind of assignment given to different country. Now, which having said this, the IC engine, I think, will go down in developing country like India, which is where we can evidently see that EV is coming. But I think more than EV, hydrogen will be the one of the solution for long distance travel, because infrastructure wise India and lot many developing countries needs to very aggressive steps in terms of capex, incentives and all. So answering to your question, particularly which job roles will be absolute, is the repetitive task which is taken care by the automation or AI are getting redundant. And then that's basically area where one has to see how he or she can be best fit to identify such a job which cannot be taken by any AI or anything. Then second, I think, is basically advanced robotic is taking very aggressive steps in manufacturing. If you go and visit many of the OEMs, robotics is one of the things where the accuracy and precision of the manufacturings are very high. And even though the capex is very high, the reduction or other the scrap generated out of that because of the manual interventions is reduced to the extent. So I think this is one of the area. And a third, which is important, is basically industry 4.0. There are 6 to 7 kind of like areas. IoT is one of them. Then AI is one of them. You see, we are touching upon digitization. Now we are not going to banks. We are operating from our own smartphones pertaining to transactions and all. So everything is basically replaced. And the only answer for this is upgrade ourselves to the level that we can employable for next couple of years, let's say 20, 30 years. So one has to constant upgrade on this. Thanks. This is my thoughts.
So George, would you like to add on the kind of job roles that you see your own company looking at in maybe next 5 to 10 years to come?
Yeah, surely, just to add to what Rahul said, I think definitely agree to what we need to do is all of us have to learn, reskill, unskill, of course, and then reskill. Because one of the challenges that we face is that people are not willing to unlearn. But what I see is, if you look at it from a shift from here, 3 years, 5 years or more, because probably beyond 5 years, it will be really, I would say, impractical to say now. But all I can say is that considering that we're going to move into I would say, culture or a way of working is cobots, where we coexist with bots. I think we as human beings have to really thrive on or enhance our human touch. Other thing that will come handy for us or other will save us is our own enhancing our creativity. Because bots will not somewhere replace creativity. They'll replace repetitive work, a lot of calculated work. But creativity is something that we'll have to really, enhance so that we still are able to be one up, I would say. And the third part, from a technical domain, I would say that more and more I would look at, based on whatever I've heard, read, is the role of an integrator. When I say integrator, it's like, how do I integrate between what a human being is doing and what a bot is doing? How do you program a bot to do what humans are really required to do from a repetitive perspective, or which is, maybe a heavy industry as such. I think those 3 areas definitely is my thought, and all the students, including me, will have to start looking at how do we enhance our expertise or competence on creativity. And
I think
With technology is touched on a very important point that you cannot replace a human, because the critical thinking, the innovation and creativity that we bring to the table can never be taken over by robots or bots for that matter. So Joyce, any thoughts on this?
Okay, I just want to add on what our George has mentioned or Rahul has mentioned. I think the manufacturing industry is also seeing a lot of change. Typically, if you see in a manufacturing company, if it's a machine shop, you are actually removing the steel from a block, and then you are trying to remove it, and then you trying to find maybe a tool you will make it, or a mold you will make it, or something like that. This is not now going to work. We are talking about 3D printing, right? So 3D printing is adding a little and forming that size actually. So if you see here now, as he was mentioning, George was mentioning about cobots, 3D printing is also becoming something which is 3D printing or 3D rendering actually. You will see exactly the replica of your prototype which you want to make. Otherwise, to make a prototype, you have to spend lots of money for making the prototype. But today with 3D printing, you will just make it. So many vendors are available for making this 3D printing. So now this job is becoming very demanding. Someone who knows about how to do a 3D printing on this. Second thing is that we are talking about predictive maintenance. We cannot just throw over all machines what is there, right? There's a huge investment the companies have done. Now, what do we do with these machines actually? So now with the predictive maintenance under the industry 4.0, what we are doing is we are installing sensors on these machines, and these sensors are collecting data into one place, and it is analyzing that what is the failure rate of this machine. So if, for example, if a bearing is running at for a certain frequency, it will give an alarm that, okay, this is going to fail. You change it now so that the machine doesn't stop. You will see this in our aircrafts, right? The planes which are built with such a high accuracy and such a high, what you call the sensors, any problem, it will give a sense to the pilot actually, right? And they always have a backup for all the critical things in the plane. Something similar is going to come in the predictive maintenance. So the type of people which are required for managing the machines is no more going to be preventive maintenance or a breakdown. You will not have a breakdown situation, right? Similarly, we are also finding that even I come from a automotive tier 1 company. We supply to car manufacturing companies. All these companies, they work on a just-in-time and sequencing. Sequencing, when I say the manufacturing in the car production line, if any of you people have seen, these are quite glamorous. This is a line. You will see the cars are getting produced. Every 1 minute, you will see one car coming out of the exit. So the cars are getting produced. All the suppliers, they have to sequence their product to meet the requirement in that time. And the companies, big companies, which also is partnering with you like Volkswagen, we are also supplying to them. They keep only 1 hour of inventory. 1 hour of inventory on the line. If we stop the line, the whole line will be stopped. So there are 5,000 parts in a car. So there are maybe 100, 200 suppliers. Everybody is on just-in-time sequencing. In our factories, we have a triggering system. So on the screen, all this triggering is working very highly automated. The people who are working in the area of logistics, in the area of planning, they have to be really with different skills. Typically, you think about, okay, I will plan for next week. It doesn't work. It works with 1 hour of precision. And if you lose this, you will stop the line. And the cost of that is very high. So that's what is changing the role which I feel in the factories, which is there. And I think other topics or other points our colleagues have covered already. Last thing I want to add is that the jobs which are changing is on the products which can sustain in the world. So sustainability is something which is going to be the key job in the future. Our government has already committed something, and we see a drastic growth of opportunities in this sustainability area. We don't have anything. I don't know whether we have something in Symbiosis to offer, but sustainability is something which will take care of in a big way in the coming day. Thank you.
Over to Shiri before, yes. So this year we've launched the School of Sustainability. with a BTech program in solar and alternate energy. So all our corporates that we have been speaking to, sustainability, reducing carbon print has been a concern with literally every corporate that we have gone to. And it is with that objective that we decided to start the School of Sustainability. So that's one area, yes, we will look forward to the, people coming in, and if we could start initiate dialogues on how we could participate there. Over to you, Shirish.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, my colleagues have brought out very interesting facts. I am from basic engineering company. Okay, we make pumps and valves. I'm not from automotive. But what I feel is like the distinction between the basic engineering companies, the automotive companies, and even the IT. I mean, it's the gap is slowly vanishing actually. Okay, in terms of the demands, in terms of the expectations, in terms of the working environment, I would say. So the focus is more and more on the digitalization, automation, and to that extent, the jobs would definitely change. However, the people who would design, develop, run this technology and maintain this technology will always be in demand, and therefore and therefore the jobs in these areas like designing, developing, producing and producing through these technologies, as well as the maintaining these technologies, will continue to be in demand. So the future jobs will be more in this area, I think. Secondly, I was just going through, like, after getting this invitation, as to how the nature of jobs have changed in like our company, okay, in last 10 years. So I was just looking at the manpower composition of our company 10 years ago and the manpower composition now, in terms of the number of so-called blue-collar workmen and number of the management staff, engineers and so. Again, the composition in terms of how many people we have in different functions like operations, product management, finance, quality, and so on. So it was a very interesting revelation that, okay, the jobs in core operations, when we talk about the production or the planning, maintenance, and so on, the jobs are reducing or they are more or less stagnant. And that is because of the digitalization, automation in the manufacturing. However, the jobs in the other functions are going up. I was really surprised to see like the jobs in our product management function have almost doubled, because there is a need to introduce new products in the market. Okay, there's always a demand that how can you be innovative, how can you be cost competitive and all that, and in that particular area, the product management plays a very important role. So the jobs have almost been doubled actually in this area. Similarly, like I see the hiring in new areas like the contract management, okay, the contract management, the project management, the people in quality, again, the demands on sustainability and so. So the jobs in so-called support functions are going up, okay, and there are lots and lots of opportunities. So here, not only you need the technical skill, but you also need the commercial skill, you also need the management skill. So even if you're working at a junior level, still you need to have those interpersonal skills, because no one can work in isolation these days. So you have to work in cross-functional teams. And here, you need to have some different kind of skills. How do you adapt to, the different requirements of the job? How do you adapt to the different technologies? And how quickly you can adapt, that is very important. And therefore, to that extent, the company has its own program, but a lot has to come from the employees also, in terms of getting out of the comfort zone and unlearning and learning new things. So I think the manufacturing is growing, and okay, all our companies are doing well. So obviously, like our customers are doing well, our suppliers are doing well. So there's no need to panic as such. So there'll be a lot of growth, job opportunities available. Only the nature of job will change. And as Rahul said, the people need to learn, people need to unlearn and learn, like probably every 3 years, every 5 years. So that is the key. There'll be plenty of jobs will be available, not to worry. Only thing is one has to develop right kind of skill and right kind of attitude to take care of this.
interesting point of view from everybody. So we are talking not just about technology skills, we are talking about creativity, we are talking about management skills. And I think the lines are also blurring between a technology person or a pure mechanical person. So it's becoming more multidisciplinary in nature. While I think our training institutions, our educational institutions still are working in silos, while industry is already talking cross-functional skills. So I think there is a major shift in the perspective of how education needs to be handled, also training needs to be handled. And as you rightly said, unlearn, learn is maybe becoming a continuous practice, not only for the freshers who are going to come in, but also for the employees who are with us today. So upgrading them, putting the right skill set so they are able to grow, I think would be the key going forward. And which brings me to the next question. So what is that skill gap in particular? Maybe on a fingertip, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish I had somebody who had these 4 skills, I will hire him tomorrow. So what would that be? Anybody?
This time, I think,
Okay, I think this question is very close to all of our heart, that how do I, because we take interviews for 30 minutes and then you have to judge in this 30 minutes. I think all of my colleagues who are here, they are all experienced. Actually, in first 5 minutes, we know whether we'll hire this person or not. And they will agree. Actually, in first 5 minutes, we know whether we'll hire this person. Yeah. So it's not great science. It's all because of our experience, because we know who is bluffing and who is talking. So what we look for these people is honesty. Okay, something which they are being honest in terms of what they are talking about. And what we also look at, now this is manufacturing company, technology companies, engineering companies. We like people to look who can really be like a little analytical thinker actually. So we can deploy a lot of tests to find out whether the person is analytical or not. But the person who is very curious, he will be really, you will find this, probably professors are here, you will find this, some such students in your courses also. They're very inquisitive. They want to know, they want to probably open a machine, they want to find out how does this work. So this is the kind of people which we are trying to look at, who are analytical thinker and who have passion towards engineering, and who want to work in the real world actually, not work on the virtual world. Of course, that is also important, but who want to work in the real world. Also, we always look for someone who is having a little bit of global mindset. Okay, when we say global mindset, because now our companies have become very close, because we know everything what is happening in our global companies. In the past days, what we saw is, okay, maybe in our headquarters or in our main offices, something is happening, we'll come to know over a period of time. It's not now, it's exactly the same time this is replicated back into all the locations of our company. Someone who can really think little global and can work with different cultures. This is something which is what we are trying to look at, with different cultures, because what happens is, I often hear from our CEOs that we have a habit of nodding, yes, but in the inside we are actually telling no, actually, right? So why do you do this? Why do people do this here in India? So this is something we took the example, and Dr. Majumdar was talking about Korea. This is the difference. What you see in Koreans is the commitment what they have for the country and for the commitment to whatever they are doing actually. So if they are committed and they want to go really into depth of it, they will really do it. So what I see nowadays in freshers, some of these skills are kind of missing, and they don't want to go into the depth. You have people, okay, we have been doing engineering, now I have done management course. Why you have done? Okay, I want to become a manager actually, right? Manager roles are very limited in organization where you handle people. Then why did you do engineering, right? There was no need of doing engineering. Okay, engineers also can become leaders and managers, but why do you did engineering? And we want people who can really go into the depth, not kind of width, but to the depth. This is a problem which we face in industry today with our engineers. I have a technical ladder program where a person can go technically and earn as high as salary as a director. So the salary is not a problem, benefit is not a problem, but nobody wants to go into the depth of it actually. This is some of the challenges which I face, but I think you have good place here, and I was very happy to see you have a nice place which is really teaching them the reality of you're showing them what exactly a machine or what exactly is happening. So we were quite impressed with the whole thing actually. So this is what my recommendation. If you want to add?
Yeah, most of the points you covered. Only I would like to add a few things like, okay, when we hire freshers, I mean, we definitely look at, their technical skills, their like how quickly they can adopt. And of course, I mean, we can make our judgment in 10 minutes, but then we have scientific methods also to, we have a psychometric test and the other things actually to validate them. What we look at and what we miss in most of the people, of course, the people, let's say like if 40 engineers join in a year, only one of them can become general manager. Okay. So obviously the one who does better, okay, or one who is better than others in terms of these skills, knowledge and attitude will grow higher. Another thing is like, okay, we give a lot of time to the people to settle down, but they should not take they should not take a very long time actually to settle down in their role. So we look for the people who could quickly grasp, okay, quickly adopt, and then start delivering as such. Now, with the attrition levels going up, particularly in case of the experienced people with 2 to 3 years, when we hire people with, let's say, 1 or 2 years experience, we expect them to start delivering immediately or maybe within let's say 2 weeks time, and that is where the skill gap, the issue comes in. Then another thing like what we look at is the target orientation. Now, why we say that the candidate should be good in academics, because unless he has the target orientation, he cannot do well in academics. Okay. And therefore we look at the target orientation. Then we, like, some people ask us to how do you check the target orientation? How do you check the adaptability and all that? So during his academic career also, he goes through a number of things, and if he has achieved more than what his syllabus has prescribed, that means, okay, I mean, he wants to do more. He wants to develop his skill. He wants to develop his knowledge, and he wants to be better than others. Okay, so then like, of course, after the candidate joins, after the fresher joins, we have a very intensive training program to train them in the product processes and like usual training programs we have. But initially, that learning ability, what we look for, is missing in most of the candidates.
So just to add, I think we also have, and I think most of the organizations will have taking in GTs, graduate training engineers as such. And of course, when we do that, we do, and it's a given that, technically they should be sound and analytical wise, and certain language also, aptitude tests also that should be. But one of the differentiators that probably I personally see, and it also aligns to or other organization alignment, is that the difference between the will and the skill. A person can be skilled but not willing to do, right? And if for me and the organization where I come from, Forbes Marshall, for us, will is more important than the skill. If the person is skilled and not willing to, but if the person is willing to, we can still kind of groom him or her into anything that is required. And of course, a hunger for doing much more than what he or she is currently doing. So these are the two differentiators. Of course, a lot has been covered already, and I'll ask Rahul to add.
Yeah. Now I realize if you are the last panel member to talk, every point is taken away by 3 people, and what to talk. So really difficult, but I have a different perspective on the expectation of the employer and expectation of the university. If you see way back in India, the E and B schools were not in huge quantity. and adaptation of like, the NEP, new education policies, and, starting with the huge kind of E and B schools. I think we are, to some extent, this is my personal opinion, but we are deteriorating the quality of the students, and that becomes a issue. The person may have a degree called BTech and all, but may not have practical knowledge. So it's only like, degree on paper. Second is basically expectation from employer is also like he or she should be plug and play, which is not the case. So I think institutions like Symbiosis and University of Pune has also adopted many of the initiatives that before parting out from the college, let's say 1 year back or 18 months back, he or she has to do the internship. So I believe internship is only one of the way to get acquainted with the expected skill, and that will reduce the skill gap. I think this is very, very important. And I agree with Sheri sir also, like the new generation is basically very, very enthusiastic to learn, but they need shortcut. They don't want to go for hard learning and all Samuel was talking about. They don't have patience to take that kind of attitude. It is a continuous improvement. One cannot go steadily like this. It's a continual improvement one has to do. Thanks.
Interesting perspective from everybody. And I think a lot of it is also dependent on the employees and how willing are they to learn as they progress and not get stagnated as where the place that they are. I think that would another be in place where reskilling, maybe upskilling could be something which can address the skill gap in the existing. For the young students who are coming in and being a university ourselves, we do realize the challenges that are there. But again, counseling at the right time, setting their expectations at the right time. At the university here, we are trying to integrate industry from the day one. It does not start only, as we were talking earlier with the guest lecture, it starts right at the level of curriculum development to the kind of labs that are getting set up. So obviously, as an educational institution, we need a lot of input coming in from the industry as to where the technology is going, what do we need to set up. Just to give an example, somebody was asking me, do you have a hydrogen fuel? And I said that this is an equipment we bought way back in 2016, 17, thinking that this is what will be required when our children will be in 21, 22. So that's kind of far-sightedness that both industry and academia need to have, because as George was rightly saying anything beyond 5 years is impossible to be. So that becomes a challenge. An interesting trend that we have seen with the manufacturing sectors has been a lot of focus on Make in India. There are a lot of schemes that are coming in. We are now looking at the production-linked incentive schemes which have come in. So on the backdrop of this, how do you think that the manufacturing sector is going to grow? And what is the growth strategy that we are looking at? And of course, views on these schemes that have been rolled out by the government. Do you see an impact of this anytime soon?
This time I will take first. Yes. I think a very interesting question. And I truly believe like India is the one of the country who will have kind of dominance in manufacturing sector across the globe for next 10 years. Now, if you see the bureaucrats or the government policies, especially to PLI, the production link incentive schemes, in early Jan 2020, they have announced it for only 3 sectors. One was electronics, another was especially pharma, a bulk drug when we were in pandemic, and third was medical devices. Now, what was the thought was basically to incentivize the manufacturing companies in terms of providing some kind of concession so that the quantity will increase. Once the quantity increase, the cost will reduce. Once the cost will reduce, then the sale will increase and the GST will again come back to the government. Now, there was a very strong representation, and maybe later, let's say November, they declared the another 10 sectors which are part of the incentive schemes. And I'm very happy to know that 92 applications have already approved by Government of India, where one of the new sector is EV, where they have given incentives to battery also. I'll just give a small example so that you can easily correlate. Let's say a smartphone which is having value of 15,000 and more. So what they are doing, they are giving incentive for 4 to 6 percentile of the manufacturing cost, not pertaining to the building and land cost, but only technology transfer or something. So this creates the opportunity to have inflow of the cash in India. And the objective under the Atmanirbhar Bharat is basically to reduce our dependency of the imports, what we are doing, and try to give export. If you see a smaller country like Korea and Japan, they are major exporter in the world. And this is, I think, one of the opportunity we are also trying to reduce from dependency on China. So I think PLI is one of the scheme which is giving very heavily incentive to Indian organizations. They have a bright plan of 5 years where they will incentivize, and this financial year, which is 22 and 23, will be the year where is the maximum cash flow will be there. So I think all CFOs will be very happy to grab some kind of good P&L this year. Thanks.
I totally agree to what Rahul says. And just to add, in fact, Force Marshal did take advantage of this, and historically, this year also is for us coincidentally the 75th year of existence. And if you know, primarily we were located in the Bombay-Bana road for many, many years, and we were still there. But because of this incentive, we were kind of pushed out of the comfort zone and go and buy some land in Chakan. We invested in the land, of course, at a considerably discounted or incentive price in the MIDC. And we have the largest plant in whole of India as regards Force Marshal is concerned. We have 50 acres plot there, and the entire manufacturing is going to be, so that's going to be a manufacturing hub for Force Marshal across in India and globally.
I have the last question for the panel. And what advice would you give the audience if they're looking at a career in manufacturing, and how do they prepare for this sector?
So you would like me to start first?
Yes.
Well, the advice is very simple. I think we have talked about it during the earlier question answers and such. To put it in a nutshell, or to put it very briefly, what I would say is that, okay, everyone wants to be successful, right? And to be successful, you need that confidence that you can be successful, right? And where do you get that confidence from? So you get that confidence from that triangle of skill, knowledge, and attitude. So now every time, we've been telling the people that you come out of your comfort zone, try to do something different, unlearn, learn new things, get into the different areas and so on. Now, the new concept is like, increase your comfort zone. Okay. So that means like today, if you are comfortable in doing a particular job, then try to, improve your skill, your knowledge, and also your attitude, so you can do one more job. Okay. Maybe 3 years down the line, you should be in a position to do 2 more jobs, 3 more jobs. So basically you go on increasing your comfort zone. And that means what? You need to develop your skill, you need to develop your knowledge, and you also need to develop your attitude. Now, when I talk about the attitude, now attitude is very, very important thing actually, because skill and knowledge, is comparatively easier, I would say. So the attitude, like, for example, let's say we have the factory in Shirwar, which is about 60-70 kilometers. If I tell some of our high potential employees that, okay, I mean, there is an opportunity available at Shirwar, okay, and it will be a very good growth opportunity. Now he would hesitate. He would say like, oh, I have settled in Pune, my children are studying in Pune and all that. So, willingness to move to a different location, willingness to do a different job, this is what I call as the attitude, because, that means that you need to adapt to the new situations, you need to learn new things, and then you need to deliver in an environment which is not known to you. Okay. your colleagues are, you have different colleagues, you have different bosses, you have different environment, and there is a challenge. But then the real growth happens only when you step out of your comfort zone and go to some other place. So I would say, like, be open to the opportunities. Another thing is, like, when you start your career, you have something like 40 years ahead of you. Okay. Right. So you need to sustain yourself for 40 years. And therefore you need to plan your career for 40 years. Maybe you, if you want to, like, become a general manager or MD, or if you want to start your company, whatever it may be. But then you have certain goal, which is long term, and then take baby steps towards, like, achieving that goal. Another important thing is, like, okay, as I said, the corporate life is very tough, very stressful. You need to keep delivering on the expectations, not only every year, but every month, every day. Okay. So the jobs are tough, the jobs are stressful, and then you need to keep yourself physically fit. I know this is not the topic of the discussion here, but I keep telling this to the youngsters in every forum, that you need to keep yourself fit. Okay. And you need to put your efforts in that direction right from the this stage. Then only it can take you. Otherwise, there'll be a situation, or there'll be a stage where you are very competent to do any job, but then you're not physically fit. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? So this is a, the simple advice: keep increasing your comfort zone. Keep on working on your skills, knowledge, and attitude, most importantly, right? And keep yourself physically fit so that you can run a marathon.
I think I'll continue with what Shirish has covered already. In manufacturing sector, I think people who are viewing this and who are here, I really want to say, I have always been working in manufacturing companies. I also have a large technical center which we handle, because both these things are there, and I can compare both the possibilities. And I would like to tell the audience that manufacturing is very safe, right? It also pays like now what the IT companies are doing, right? It's not bad. Our manufacturing plants, my colleagues, they already said they are really good place, right? They are state-of-the-art manufacturing plant. It's not shabby place. It's not something which people have in mind that this is not a very good place, but it's really a nice place where we can work, and you really make something in real, right? You work with reality, right? That's where we produce, actually, and you add value for the people. That's where you create a product, and which goes for the people. So what I want to say for people who are listening to us in this panel discussion, that if you want to work in manufacturing companies, it's not that very different skills you need compared to what IT skills have. What they also look is that you need to know how to collaborate with people. You need to know how to network with people. I already explained how do you need to have global mindset, because you may be a technical guy, your counterpart may be in some other country. So you need to know how to work with them. Secondly, you need to also be a quick and good learner, actually. When I say learner is because our universities teach us at certain level, and this particular university like Symbiosis, which is like a finishing school, which gives something more than what the normal university is giving. I think all of you are doing very good job, excellent job. And this should be taken by all the industry, that you reverse integrate what we want and you are trying to do. And this is the reason, just a point ahead we discussed, like Dr. Majumdar was telling that there is a company which is going to come here to manufacture semiconductors. We don't have a single company manufacturing semiconductors in India. Okay, Foxconn, I have personally visited Foxconn. That's why I'm telling you. In one premises, they have 1 lakh people working. 5,000 people are there on the gate for every day for interview. 5,000 people on the gate for interview. Can you imagine the load on HR? And I tell my team members, when you have 10 people, you are not able to handle them, not able to treat them. Okay, so that's the kind of scale. Now, this is something new which is coming. Now, what is the skill required to work in this kind of semiconductor industries? That is something which we have to look at. And I'm very happy that Symbiosis is trying to work with a course with them, and you have to do a reverse engineering. Really, it's a Taiwanese company. They are really good. They are worldwide. They are known for contract manufacturing, and they will manufacture anything and anything for anybody. And they are in very large scale. So the people who are listening to us, manufacturing is working in real world. You have really exciting jobs available in manufacturing. We find very difficulty. Shirish was telling that this is the same problem. You want to send somebody from the office to the plant. They are really hesitant actually. So that is the comfort zone which they have to come out of it. And you will see that people will find themselves growing in this organization if they acquire these skills and they are ready to take over this challenge of working, because always there is some difficult times. You see in government jobs, if you want to be in comfort zone, you can remain in Pune and don't take any transfers, right? But if you take transfers, go to many places, you'll see that they become commissioners or they become maybe very head of positions. So you have to come out of your comfort zone. Once you come out of your comfort zone, you will see that you are going faster. So lastly, once again, manufacturing is exciting. Please join us and you will find, and we also pay well. Huh? So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Maybe you will also see a line of people with their resumes tomorrow morning. And
Yes,
maybe our
maybe,
students
yes,
will also be coming.
Yeah, mostly welcome.
And I think moving out of your comfort zone is the mantra. So that's, I think, what is a takeaway. Yes, George.
So thanks, Shishir and Joyce, because I pick up on what Joyce said. I can give my own example. I joined Forbes Marshall in '95, and this is my second stint with Forbes Marshall. And in between, I was telling them also that it's like a sandwich. And in between, I was in 3 different IT companies. Now, that's what Forbes Marshall does, and Forbes Marshall definitely is an engineering manufacturing company. So there is glamour, there is passion. What you get definitely is what you sow. What you put in, like I'll take what Shishir said, your attitude matters here, right? And I'll add to this is it all starts with yourself. Just a friendly advice here is that, and it's not only for manufacturing, it's across. I would say, look at 3 things, basically 3 A's. And Shishir added the 4th A, the attitude part, but I'll dwell upon the 3 parts. Is that 3 A's is be aware of yourself, be aware of your passion, be aware of your environment, be aware of the people around you who can be resourceful, be aware of the opportunities. Once you're aware of those, then you're clear about what you're going to do, what your objective is, what your goal is. Accept whatever strengths you have, whatever areas you need to work on, whatever opportunities are there, whatever resources are there. And then, of course, the most important part is actioning wherever there are gaps, wherever you feel that your passion is, wherever your goal is. While I say that you are a fortunate generation, because everything is probably at the tip of your fingers, but it also adds the complexity. We never had Google Baba when we passed out from college, right? So fortunate for us that we were not so confused. Or the scenario didn't make us so confused, because today if I put on Google, we know what happens. You get probably 1 million answers, and then you also confusing you which one to take. But then again, it aligns to what I'm saying. Be aware of what your passion is. You'll have thousands of options. You need to know, pick up the one that is best for you. Yeah, and just to add, we said learn. And I'll just, kind of to sum up my contribution and my thought is that we live in challenging and interesting times. We live in challenging and interesting times. Change is constant. And if you want to thrive or you want to achieve, you will need to learn. And I think relearn also, just to add, to adapt and adapt again and again. I'll repeat that. If you want to thrive, you need to learn or relearn as such, unlearn and relearn, to adapt and adapt again and again. All the best. Thank you so much.
George is again opportunist, and I lost another 3 points. So now I will touch upon different thing. My individual wish is like, whosoever are watching this program, please try to understand my perspective. Generally, people have aspiration like we are having a big school educations, we are having degree and we'll jump with a good handsome salary and all. So here is, it's a basically very simple expectation, but then with this expectation, they join many of the OEMs and all. I'm not saying joining OEM is bad, but joining OEM at the start of your career is absolutely bad according to me, because then you will lose the versatility. Example, whenever you are majorly starting your career, basically, let's say in any of the OEMs, there are very stipulated work which is assigned to you. If you are joining any tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, there is a lot of opportunity where you can have kind of versatility in your career. And my suggestion to those who wanted to take is have the versatility for next 7 to 8 years and then become a specialist in one of the area where you would like to go ahead. Is one of the simple thing I wanted to tell. Second, whenever you are joining any company, give your 100%. I see people are only working for, 2 punch 1 lunch, and that thing is absolutely outdated mindset concept. We should understand basically the business first. What is our business? Second, let's say if the business is having different kind of verticals, which vertical is giving profit? If one of the vertical is giving profit, which of the area or which of the product line which is giving profit? Can I contribute to the product line? Is one of the I. Second I is which will be the next future where I can acquire my skills and I can become an active contributor. So I think this is something wake up call or some kind of provoking thoughts, maybe university and faculty can also give while they are having the conversation with the students. One important thing is basically, I will call EPC is one of the unique way I understood. When E stands for education, P means passion and C means your career. ये साथ होते हैं. I think that is one of the super express highway for anyone who is doing job or even for the entrepreneurship, because passions keep you on your toes, saying that there is no boring Monday when you wanted to start for the day again. So I think this is understand your passion, understand the jobs in next 10 years. I think EV and hydrogen will be the area where you need to have some kind of skill upgradation, dry line, battery systems, hydrogen and all. I think mechanical engineering with a very conscious way, I'm telling you, will lose the importance. However, electrical and electronics will gain a prominent importance in days to come or years to come. Whereupon, the competitiveness will be very much increased across the globe. And being a competitive, I think we need to be very agile. Otherwise, you will be thrown out of the system. So I think universities are giving very different platform to all of the students. Take benefit of them. We are very reachable person. You can connect with us at any point of time. We can only provoke you, but you have to take a baby step first. All the best for your career. Thank you.
Just one point. Okay. See, this is not a sales pitch, but what I would say is manufacturing is a very exciting place to work. I mean, from two aspects. Number one is that you get the 360-degree view of the business. Right? So right from, getting the order till the time the product is rolled out of the factory. When all the processes, like how the business happens, that the knowledge of, the business, you cannot get in any other industry other than manufacturing. And therefore, when you're thinking of a long-term goal, or when you want to become a businessman and all that, manufacturing is the best place to start. That is number one. Secondly, just to motivate you further, okay, most of the companies in the services sector and also the banking, also in IT, most of the companies are led by the people who have started their career in manufacturing, most of them. Okay, because comparatively, all these are new sectors, but working in manufacturing has certainly given them the edge to lead whatever business they are into. So thank you once again, and wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the panelists, so from the EPC to the AAAs to, managing yourselves and learning and unlearning. I think it's a great input from all of you. And I'm sure the audiences who are listening to us are also making notes, and they will follow what advice is coming to you from the stalwarts from the sector of manufacturing. With this, we conclude the panel discussion. If there may be one or two questions we can take, because we are already running out of time.
Question.
Yes.
We could address it.
So this one has come that India has occupied a top manufacturing position in two-wheeler markets. But in other sectors of manufacturing, China has pretty much occupied the leadership position. So what do you think our universities can play a role in the setting us up as leaders in the next few years in the manufacturing space? So they basically the question is that we are seeing that the two-wheeler industry is already in a leading position in our country and globally also. But the manufacturing sector, will still find China is the leader in the manufacturing space. So the question is, how can the university contribute in or any university for that matter, to creating the skilled manpower pool, which will allow India to become a leader in the manufacturing space globally?
In very interesting question. And if you recollect my thoughts, particularly on India becoming a manufacturing hub, there are multiple initiatives, 3 to 4 different contributors has to do. One is basically government, which is taking the appropriate policies. I think still the speed is not matching up to the expectation, but the inflows of FDIs are still coming. And I think there are a lot of JVs where Indian are investing under the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Second is basically pertaining to the employers who are addressing the future demands. So what your question is, we are the world leader not only in two-wheeler but also in tractor manufacturing. We are the second largest in bus manufacturing. We are the 4th largest in passenger car manufacturing and 6th largest particularly pertaining to the other areas. But my submission to all August gathering is basically there are 3 different ways where we can come together. One is government, another is employer, and third one is universities, which are basically bridging the gap. And all these customized courses, which we have seen in this university and the rest part of India, is basically contributing and bridging this. So I think I'm very sure and very confident that this decade, next 10 years will be for the India who will do the manufacturing hub globally. Unless we are reducing our import duties and all and focus more on export, because that is the only opportunity for us to create our benchmark in terms of contribution to the rest sectors. I hope I have given the answer.
Next question is, sir, in manufacturing, what are the other skills other than technical skills that we should focus upon? And this is coming from a student of BTech Mechatronics.
I think this we have answered, and I think this was Shirish was giving the answer. Technical skills. Your faculties will take care of you, actually, right? They will give you that skill, and what you need to do is look at yourself, okay, and you look at your approach and your attitude, actually, how you are committed to that whatever the task you are taking, and we also mentioned here about how quick you are in learning new things, because from university you will be taught a certain thing. When you step into the actual world of manufacturing or a company, there is a slight gap, which many a times such institutes of symbiosis, which is kind of brushing that and bringing them very close to what we need, can be done. But answering your question, these are some of the skills which you need to look at. Other than technical is one is having global mindset. okay, quick learner, and maybe a problem solving expert, analytical thinker. And Shirish was adding at that time that keep yourself fit, right? This is something which always we talk to our employees also, because you can fall quickly, you will fall into a kind of a trap of having problems as you catch up with your age. So keep yourself fit and have all this in yourself. Technical skill, you already have it. I think you should be able to. Yeah, you want to add something? Yes.
Just few things. Like, okay, there's a long list, okay, what you need to do. But you ask me on priority, what you need to do, like you need to develop your communication skills.
Yeah.
And when I talk about communication skill, it's not only the language, okay, like it's the way how you express yourself. Because you may have a lot of knowledge, you may have to, you may like to say so many things, but if you're not in a position to express yourself, I mean, it's of no use. And therefore, developing your communication skills, you should take on priority. And second is the interpersonal skills. Essentially, like when you work in an organization, you work with the people, you work along with the people, right? And therefore, you need to be comfortable working with the people. Because we come across some employees, like who are very good technically, who are very knowledgeable and all that. But when it comes to working in a team, like where everyone has to keep aside his individual objective or individual goal and contribute to the team, there they fail because they simply are not in a position to express themselves. They are not comfortable to be with the people. Okay. So communication skills and the interpersonal skills, I think, could be taken on the priority to develop when you want to enter any sector, not only manufacturing.
No, in fact, very rightly said by Joyce and Shishir. But I'll take the thread from what I said. If you want to thrive, and if you want to thrive to be a good leader, you have to just add two more probably, and there'll be another long list for sure. Maybe, I don't know, Rahul wants to add. One is to influence as a team member, as a team leader. Yeah. So if you want to be the differentiator, you need to influence or learn to influence or be influential in the positive sense. Second is you'll have to be empathetic. With cobots coming in, you will have to show empathy to the people, team members that are working with you, people who are working down the line with you. So as effective leaders, I think these two things from me, please add it to your list if you want to be successful and thrive.
Yeah, I fully agree with all of the thoughts, but my perspective to answer this question is basically agility and problem solving ability is only 2-3 ways one can keep ourselves. We all are using smartphones, and I ask generally this question to many of the students basically, who updated the phone, you or the software? And the answer is software. So how this happened is very automatically. And the logic behind this is that we need to upgrade ourselves at a regular interval. We cannot go into comfort zone saying that I have acquired and yesterday's success become my tomorrow's or other future success. So it is very, very important. You need to create your own personality or your own branding. Because if you see many successful people, they have felt that early rising is one of the area where it gives a positive energy. So I think, good habit, whatever best we can do in your domain knowledge is the one of the opportunity you can grab. One of the important thing is basically be opportunist and be anticipator. There are 3 ways to see the students. One is one of the type is basically a reactive students. बोलने के बाद होता है. Second is proactive. And third is anticipator. कि क्या पूछने वाले हैं so that I can prepare myself. I think this is the attitude which will keep you on your toes and which will keep you employable also in terms of increasing or enhancing your employability. Thank you.
So thank you so much to all the panelists. I think we have literally covered all aspects, right? Starting from the issues, the challenges, the opportunities, the skill gaps, the kind of new roles that are coming in. We have touched upon not only the technical skills that are required, but the personal effectiveness skills and competencies that are required. I think it's been a very, very exciting panel discussion, and thanks to all of you. And I'm sure all our audiences have also benefited from this, I conclude and pass the mic back.
Thank you, Sonali ma'am, for moderating. Thank you all the guests for such a fruitful panel discussion. I'm sure our students and viewers who are watching will benefit largely from your discussion. May I now call upon Dr. Deepa Karandikar, Director of Training Placements and School of Interdisciplinary Science, to formally propose the vote of thanks. Dr. Deepa, over to you.
Thank you, and thank you for such a powerful panel discussion and highlighting the glamour aspect of manufacturing sector. This will surely help us also, and change the perspective of our students to look at manufacturing companies. And hopefully this year we have students not only applying for IT companies, but also for manufacturing companies. So on behalf of Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to Shri Rajesh Patil ji for gracing this occasion as our chief guest. His presence today in this function has immensely enhanced its importance. My deep gratitude to the National HRD Network, Ms. Arundhati Kadare of Pune chapter, and also PCMC Smart Sarathi entire team for collaborating with SSPU for this SymbiTalk session 1. I express my deep gratitude to our esteemed guests, Mr. Shirish Kulkarni, Mr. Rahul Baghi, Mr. Joyce Samuel, Mr. George Cardos, and Mr. Kannan. My heartfelt gratitude to Major Sonali Kadam for moderating this session. My profound thanks to Dr. S.B. Muzumdar, sir, our respected Chancellor, Dr. Swati Muzumdar, our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Gauri Shiorkar, our Vice Chancellor, Head of all schools, faculty members, invited guests from SSPU, SCDL, SOES, and all students and attendees who have joined us online today. Lastly, my thanks are due to all my colleagues, the teaching, non-teaching, and the support staff of Symbiosis and SCDL. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I request all of you to join us for lunch. Thank you.